We are going to look into one of the scenario where we are going to look into the travel claim frauds coming in. Again, this is a claim fraud detector agent that we have built on the Neutrinos AI Hub platform. Before we jump into the agent, let's quickly look into the type of documents that we may be running. Right now we are running it on travel claim documents. So we have some flight delay cancellation certificates. We do have some cancellation. Another cancellation certificate coming in from airlines, or there could be a trip delay certificate coming in, which may be talking about why the trip was delayed, for example, the weather conditions and things like that. Or there may be a baggage loss information. For example, you can see that we have officially declared that this has a complete loss of checked-in baggage by airline fault, things like that. So these kind of letters comes in during the travel claim, and the aim was to find a fraudulent claim coming in among multiple claims. The reason of the fraudulent claims could be different. For example, one of the reason could be that it's a fabricated document. The another reason could be it's not even a valid document from the airline, or it could be that the details that were submitted by the customer were not the correct details. Could be that the flight never took off, or it could be that that the customer is plugging in behalf of someone or something else. So as part of the creation of the fraud agent, what we did as the very first step is creating multiple directions of how the agent should perform. And at the same time, if there is any kind of an API that we need to integrate to this particular agent, for example, I want to provide my customer database to this particular agent. I also wanted to give a Slack API spec so that it can notify the claim assessor whether this is a valid claim or not. And at the same time, if I want the agent to also have a web access, I can provide the web access APIs to this agent as well. If I have a certain type of documents that I want to give it as a knowledge basis, I can even add that. I can just go over here, add those certain files if when required, and I can add a different level of source files for knowledge sources, and all these source files will be used by the agent when it runs. So let's just quickly look into one of the scenario that we have run over here. So for example, one of the letter that we submitted, we found out that the risk score was 82, and it was a fabricated document. It was a compensation letter from the airlines. Let us just run the same scenario again and see how the information comes out. I'll just upload the same document. And again, I'll show you the type of document that we are submitting. So over here, as you can see, this is the same document that we went through earlier, which was a complete loss of checked baggage. Let me just upload it over here, and I can just pass it on to the agent to go through the whether the case is a fraudulent case or not. So meanwhile, it's going through. I just also want to cover another key components, like if there is a translation requirement within the agent, we will be able to provide a translation functionality. If we also want to hide the PI data, so mask the PI data, we can actually enable the PI masking capability over here. And when the agent runs these scenarios, it will unmask before it comes back into the review hub. Review hub is a human in the loop where any kind of a requirement where it fails, it goes into the human in the loop, and the person can confirm, reject, ignore the scenarios that comes into their bucket. Similarly, we can use multiple LLM models that may be running for this particular fraud agent or the OCR engine if it's required, and we can configure as per our requirement. Now over here, as we can see that the agent has come back with the final answer, and you can see the risk score is 82, so it has already classified the type of document that is coming in. how many documents were reviewed, what was the final verdict. So you can see that the final verdict was a fabricated risk, and what are the key fields that it extracted. So for example, the airline's date, passenger name, and rest. What were the document details, the format, letterhead, logo, seal, stamp, signature, and why did it find out that it's a fraudulent claim. So if I just open the document has this particular seal stamp, which is not a valid seal stamp, and that was the reason for the document to be a fabricated document. So you can see that what it also found that there was a distortion on the seal stamp, and also the text string is inconsistent with the airline name and the airline details, the way the airline uses it. So, and the reason to do it, that it went back, looked into how the Delhi Airlines public stamps and the various stamps are there and the seals are there, and based on that it came back with the final verdict and the risk score that is coming against each of the verdict. If there are some basic calculation that the agent has to do, it can also do it, and if that's a part of the requirement, we can add it to the basic agent's instructions as well. Now, what happens when the agent pushes it back as a fraudulent claim? It automatically comes into the claims workbench. So this is the claims workbench that we have, and let me just open the same case that got triggered from there. So for example, we have the complete timeline of what happened with the case, and you can see what system did, when did it come to a user. So for example, it come to a claim manager over here for the final decision, but other than that, it was getting in by the system. Now, as part of the claims workbench, I can still see the entire details of the claim, and I can also see the AI summary of what happened with this particular claim. What was the for example, I have multiple sections over here: the recommendations, the coverage analysis, document fulfillment, as well as reflexive questions if we need to check for any. And if we are getting into a payout flow, then it will also do a payout analysis check. So as in the workbench, as the final decision, I can also look into the fraudulent scenario. Why was it fraud? What was the reason for coming out with a fraudulent risk? And we could see that the document releases was a high risk in this particular section. Similarly, if you want to go and check for different details in your workbench, the workbench gives the complete view of all the details that is coming in. So as part of the same scenario, let me also show another key component, that whether if a manual review is initiated by the system, it will also flag those manual reviews. So for example, this was the case that it came in where the fraud risk was 82, and we can see that the fraud risk was 82 over here as well. And when it came over here, it found out the same indicators that there was a fabrication on the document. The other behaviors and the analysis was clear. So behavior, technical, pattern analysis was clear, and the final document verification said that it was a fabricated result. Now, as part of the decision, I can just go over here, approve or reject as per my analysis. So in the decision, if I say that I want to reject this case, I can just set it as rejected, and I can push it to my core system with the final decision as well as part of the workbench. So this is a quick view of how we can enable fraud detection in multiple product lines and as when required. Thank you.